All right, this is Brent Leary, and as you can tell, we're in the midst of a lot of people, a lot of milling, a lot of networking going on. That's because we're at the Salesforce Basecamp event here in Atlanta, Georgia, Buckhead. So we've been there for a full day of really great information, great insights, great sessions, and now we're going to have a great conversation with Ben Lazarov, who is the Enterprise Account Executive for Zenefits, one of the partners of the conference. So Ben, thanks for joining me today. It's been a lot of noise, a lot of excitement, but thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Brent. I appreciate it.
So before we jump in to talk about HCM and what that means, particularly from a small business perspective, why don't you give folks a little bit of a personal background on you?
Yeah, absolutely. Born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, so I can relate to all the Southerners down in Atlanta, Georgia. I currently live out in San Francisco, where Zenefits is headquartered. And I'm actually going to be moving back to Chicago to handle the central of the country for Zenefits. I've been in HR software for about 5 years, and it's my passion. I love working with people in software and human capital management.
So before we talk about human capital management particularly, tell us a little bit about Zenefits.
Yeah, so Zenefits is the #1 all-in-one HR platform. So we help companies, from 2 employees to 1,000 employees manage their back office, connect payroll, benefits, and HR all in one place.
So you throw out a term, human capital management. Kind of tell us what that is.
Yeah, so I think of it more as like an employee's experience from hire to fire. I say employee's experience is also the company's experience too. So being able to manage everything from new hire paperwork to benefits enrollment, to setting somebody up on payroll. And since we're at the Salesforce conference, being able to connect a lot of back office business systems as well.
So when you think of those kind of systems, you think of like ERP and CRM and HCM, you tend to think about bigger companies.
Right.
So where does HCM fit in for more smaller businesses?
Yeah, I think it's trending towards being able to implement something quicker at a more cost-effective rate. You mentioned human capital management to somebody today, they probably think of a company like an Oracle or a Workday. Typically small businesses have always managed those things on paper or Excel, and they always talk about the file cabinet they have in their office. And so companies are now trending towards being able to use something that's easier for them, easier for their employees, that's mobile, to help with their employee experience.
So maybe give us an example or two of like a use case for how a small business would see HCM as something that they would need.
Yeah. So let's say you start work tomorrow, first day, you come into a business. Typically, people are always plagued with a stack of paperwork. That's your first experience. You come in, you fill out your name and your address 15 times before you get to do anything new. I think with Zenefits or with any modern human capital management today, we're streamlining that process. We're educating the employees up front and allowing them to have a better experience on day one. Yeah.
So when is the time that a small company, should start thinking about implementing an HCM solution? Probably not right out of the gate, or is it out of the gate? Tell us, when should they start looking at this stuff?
I've talked to companies that have 2 employees and they want to be able to prepare themselves for growth. I don't think there's ever a time that's too soon, but at each stage of a business, 1 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to plus, you're going to have different issues that face the business from a HR, compliance, and benefit standpoint. But it's better to get started early than wait around.
Yeah, so are there certain aspects that are more relevant to small businesses when it comes to HCM versus what big enterprises are faced with?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brent. So I think what's interesting is small businesses today are trying to stay cutting edge, like you said. They're looking for the next best thing to propel their business and to grow their business. And so a lot of these small businesses look at Zenefits as a thought leader in the space to help them determine what they should be doing from an HR standpoint, from a benefit standpoint, and even from like a CRM standpoint. You look to Salesforce at their app exchange, a lot of companies go to them to see what their integrations are. I think the same thing is for Zenefits. They come to our app exchange to see what we think they're the best applicant tracking systems or the best performance management systems, and then they're able to integrate it into our platform.
Very cool. So when you think about small businesses today, and they get there's a lot of technology talk that's coming at them, what's the best way for them to look at using HCM, implementing it, using it, and getting past kind of the technology of it, but really understanding the business aspect of it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I talk to so many companies here on a monthly basis, and the biggest problem that these small businesses have is they have a lot of different systems. They have one system for time tracking, they have one system for payroll, they have one system for insurance, and from a business standpoint, they need somebody to help them manage it. And so that's where they turn to us, and obviously stay compliant while doing it.
So what are the pieces of the platform that they should be aware of?
Payroll, time and attendance tracking, time off tracking. Our mobile app allows employees to access the org chart, manage workflows, but mainly just helping get their employees onboarded. Like, there's so much that goes into that. Like I said, the documents and filling out paperwork for the employee, first of all, and then obviously for the administrator on the back end, they always have to set people up on payroll and then obviously set them up on insurance. With Zenefits, it's just one place and everything else is updated.
Last thing I want to ask you about is Zenefits recently did a study, a benefit study around SMBs. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what were some of the key findings from it?
Yeah, we had about 8,000 companies respond to that survey, and it was really great benefits benchmarking. I'd say one common theme that I hear when I talk to most companies, they always want to know what other businesses are doing, always. And one key component of that is benefits. And so some key findings were that companies are actually contributing over 25% more than what they actually need to from a benefits contribution standpoint. I think they use Zenefits to kind of stay competitive in the market. From a benefit standpoint, we also help them manage things like commuter benefits and 401k and flexible spending accounts. And so it was interesting to see all of the data around each segment of the United States from those small businesses. And they're investing in their employees. They want to be an employer of choice.
This has been really cool, but I want to make sure that people know where they can go to learn more about Zenefits and also learn more about the study.
So Zenefits.com. Go ahead and request a demo if you want to see the technology. You fill out a request demo form, and we'll get in touch with you.
Well, Ben, thanks for taking the time, and let you get back to the booth. It seems like there's some people that might want to learn more about this stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, we'll be back in a minute.